Okay, so today we have a 2009 Ram 1500 5.7 Hemi, and it has a Serpentine belt squeal. Don't know much about it. I know the customer put belt dressing on it, which is a definite no-no on a Serpentine belt. Yesterday when I looked at it hot, it was quiet, but now I've let it cool down to ambient temperature, and we'll start it up cool. So it has a pretty good belt squeal. I've used some brake cleans to take the belt dressing off, and you'll notice when I spray brake cleaner on it, it instantly goes away, but then it comes back a few seconds. So I'm going to check that power steering pulley to make sure that it's lined up. There could be a misalignment. So I've cleaned all the pulleys with a wire brush and brake cleans. They're all tacky and sticky from that belt dressing, and as I said, you should not put belt dressing on a Serpentine belt. It may temporarily make the noise go away, but then it'll get worse. So we're going to use this belt alignment tool, or pulley alignment tool, to check to see if the pulleys are lined up. And what this tool contains is it's a Dayco tool, and it contains a laser pointer that it's going to go on the harmonic balancer, and another target that's going to go in the grooves of the power steering pulley, or in the water pump pulley, so we can see if the belt's lined up. So I'll set that up and then we'll pick up from there. So there's the laser alignment tool on the harmonic balancer, and you can see the target alignment tool with the line on it is lined up. So the bottom pulley and the water pump pulley are lined up. So next we're going to put the target on the water pump pulley and point it towards the power steering pulley and see if it's lined up. So I've got the laser pointer in the first groove of the the water pump pulley. Now the power steering pulley on this one is resin or plastic, so this magnetic tool won't adhere to it. So I'll have to kind of hold it in the appropriate spot, and if I push it down here so you can see where the alignment is, it is out by about half, I would say about a 1/16 of an inch. This pulley needs to be pressed onto the shaft further here. Normally it'd be flush, and it's almost 1/8 of an inch protruding. So at some point in its life, somebody may have replaced this pulley or this power steering pump and not press this on completely. So we're going to press that on a little further, which could be a challenge because I'm sure that end of that shaft is full of rust. So here's the power steering pulley service tool, and we need to use this insert threaded into the end of the power steering pump shaft to push this back on with this screw and nut and bearing here. I'm going to have to run a thread chaser in the end of the power steering pump shaft because it's full of rust and this won't thread in there very easily. So we'll get set up with that and I'll show you that setup. So this is the setup for pressing the pulley on, and I'm having difficulty because the pulley doesn't want to move. I might have to pull it off, clean up the shaft and put it back on. There's likely some rust. It keeps loosening the threaded stud, and if you're not careful you'll break the pilot. I think I'm going to pull the pulley right off and clean the shaft up and put it back on. So I managed to get the pulley off. It was pretty tight to come off, and you can see that how far it was not pressed on. So you can see the rust ridge there. So I'm going to clean that up with some emery cloth and clean up the shaft, and then press it back on until it's nearly flush. Make sure the alignment marks are lined up. Well, I cleaned the inside of that pulley and that shaft with emery cloth. I put a little grease on it, and I still broke the puller installer tool pilot, snapped it off. So now I'm trying to pull the pulley off again, and I can't even get it off again now. I don't understand why this thing is fighting me so bad. I got the puller on here and I'm trying to pull it off, and it looks like it's going crooked. I think it's pulling the outside rib off that pulley. This is not going well. So I got that pulley off, and I had a hell of a time getting it back off. It went on about halfway and I couldn't move it any further, and I ended up breaking my installation tool. You can see, even though I put grease in there, maybe that's why it was never installed completely, because it was so damn tight. So I'm going to hone it with this little hone, measure it with a mic, and see just how much of an interference fit it is. So I finally got that pulley pressed on. Had to make a new adapter. Now you can see I've got the laser pointer on the power steering pulley, or I'm sorry, the water pump pulley, and you can see that it lines up perfectly with the mark on the thing. And I suspect that the pulley will be on flush because it went on until it stopped. So there's the use of that I think Dayco laser alignment tool. We'll put the belt back on and see if it's quiet now. So it's nice and quiet now, except for the exhaust manifold leaks, but that's a whole other issue. That pulley is almost flush with the end of that shaft, so it wasn't pressed on as far as it should have been. Never put belt dressing for V-belts on a Serpentine belt. If anything, maybe a little silicone spray when they get dry. At least that's my opinion.